Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Legend of Korra Extreme Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 3, Battle for Air Temple Island. This level is really annoying, and I wish I didn't have to say that, but it's really true. It looks nice, it's a decent environment, it's got some decent fights, and overall on normal I had a ton of fun with it. But on extreme, the checkpoints and the new enemy placements are horrendous, and it means the checkpoints here that you're going to witness are some of the worst in any guide I've ever made. And some of the transitions are going to be so jarring, I've had to put crossfades on them because they looked horrendous. But this first area, I ran past the first fight, because even if you die there, it respawns you with the enemies all vanished. So instead of having a jarring transition, I decided to skip them. It's not a tough fight, it's just like everything else on this game. You can die almost immediately, because I've purchased an ability which doubles my damage, but also means that I take double damage, essentially, because I have half a life bar. The very first instance you want to do here is you want to rebound all the bowlers back at those enemies and execute them. The entire time you're going to get shot at by that giant robot man. I can't even begin to tell you how much bullshit he is, but he is. When you jump over here, make sure you land on the platform, because you'll get a checkpoint, and then you can fight from here without the robot shooting at you. Once again, it's bowler guys. Attack them the same way you've been doing. Very simple. Did you notice how when Korra got to the edge, she kind of did an animation for mantling back on? Don't ask me why, but you can fall off on this game. And normally on Platinum games you can't. They put barriers up, but this game doesn't have barriers, so instead you fall off. And Korra will do a mantle animation which can interrupt what you're doing because it seems to have high priority, and you can be countering or evading towards an edge. She'll then do the mantle where you're completely vulnerable and you'll get hit in the mantle, so be very careful near edges because it gets a bit weird at that point. But this is the robot guy, and it's really frustrating killing this dude getting close because the camera gets so far up his arse you can't see him, so instead I do him at a distance, and if he does the electricity you can't do anything. The game will explain pretty much at this point that electrified attacks have to be avoided because you can't counter them or block them. And you might be wondering what the block button's like on this game. It's not really a block button, it is a parry button. It is, when you press it, Korra will put her arm up in a defensive stance for a few seconds. Then she'll drop it. If somebody starts attacking you and you don't parry, she will guard the entire duration of the attack until they stop, and then she'll recover. That is pretty much what it is, and it's designed in such a way so that you can't spam the parry, and you can do it quite a lot. You can actually cancel out of the parry animation the actual guarding animation, not the parry that you do afterwards. And I found this out because of my controller. As a lot of you know, my analogs stray, so Korra runs by herself when I don't touch the analog, and when I press the counter button, almost a second after she does it, she'll start running because my controller will default and make her move. So if you have anything like that, or if you're overly heavy on your analog, you can take damage you probably shouldn't take because of you accidentally cancelled the animation of guarding, so be aware of that, folks. But the reason why this level sucks is I'm going to kill this enemy, it's going to take a while. I'm showing you a good strategy of doing so without taking any damage or being in danger. It's very boring, admittedly. Most of the mech fights are much more interesting than this because you can actually fight them. But afterwards I'm going to die when I collect a pot across the way there. And when it respawns me, it respawns him. Don't ask me why. I get a checkpoint after he is dead, yet when I respawn checkpoint, it brings him back. And say what you want about enemy placement on harder difficulties, even if you disagree with the new enemies they've put there, when you kill them and get a checkpoint, they should stay dead. I don't think there's any wiggle room in that unless you're playing Doom on Nightmare, and Doom on Nightmare is a nightmare. That's kind of the point of it, that's what it was. It was enemies constantly respawn, do massive damage, it's absolutely insane, don't play this. You know, this isn't that, so I have no idea why the checkpoint would do it, but it does. But a couple of strategies you're going to see me utilising in this guide that this gives me an opportunity to speak about. I'm going to max out my water powers, because I think water is actually overpowered. It enables you to do range attacks and range execution moves, which is so powerful. It really is. You're going to see me destroy some dudes with ranged executions. And what happens is when you level up each of the elements, not only do you get more combos that you can purchase and your ability to charge attacks and get the chi rewards, but you also get your life filled. So a really good strategy here is just like on Batman Arkham Asylum, where when you bought a health upgrade it healed you. On here, if you upgrade your weapon, it heals you. And because this is on extreme, you get a lot of experience, especially if you're doing the counter attacks. So if you keep all your other elements at low levels, you can use them as a free heal if you're good at countering, or if you're good at doing combos and killing things without taking damage. And whereas I'm not recommending not using different elements, all I'm saying is it gives you an opportunity to have a guaranteed way of coming back in a fight if you take too much damage. A lot of people are probably going to go for rank, and if you're a rank runner, if you take damage you're already restarting, and the game doesn't have a restart checkpoint, which I will lament to the ends of the earth, but one of my subscribers called Locke is he's a gaming journalist in Germany, or for a German magazine, I'm not too sure which. I know he said it was German orientated. He was able to ask Hashimoto some questions, who is the director for Bayonetta 2. He was the enemy designer and I think a producer for Bayonetta 1 or something like that, while Kamiya directed it. He was able to ask him some questions, and one of the questions was, why don't they have a decent restart checkpoint feature in their games? When they do have it in Metal Gear Rising, and I believe it also has a variant of it in Wonderful 101, but I personally think the checkpoints on that game are dog shit. And Platinum's response was Platinum doesn't want to answer this right now. So that's coming from somebody who is a member of the gaming media, getting essentially pass for an answer, which it made me kind of sad to read that. I mean, it's awesome that Locke's a games journalist and I'm mad jealous, but like, he obviously knows what he's talking about because he's asking them about a pretty deep system. Checkpointing and rank running are the most important thing ever, because they're the difference between Devil May Cry 3, where when you take one piece of damage it's restart entire level, and the difference between Metal Gear Rising, where you take damage you can restart the checkpoint and do it encounter to encounter. And the way Platinum do it at the moment, you never know what you're going to get. It's straight up Forrest Gump bullshit. Oh, right now I've kind of forgotten where one of the pots is, but I will find it, folks, so do bear with me. And I just find it really strange that they wouldn't have that feature, because no restart from checkpoint it's unforgivable. But the good news is when you quit to title and you reload, it's quick. It loads very fast. And that is one of the saving graces for anybody going for a rank run. But here is the terrible checkpoint. So I obviously died there, and look who's back! But the ranking system on this game is very strange. There is no pure platinum, it seems. There is only platinum, and you can get platinums by taking damage, which is something you never normally kind of can. The best ranks on these games are usually no damage required. This game is not, so it's a little bit more flexible for people wanting to get into rank running, and like a lot of things, it is kind of like I'm not going to say childish, but it's definitely more accessible for perhaps a younger audience, because to look at this game, a lot of people are looking at it as like a cartoon. A lot of people have very just ignorant views on cartoons, because a lot of people believe they're for children, and you know, they've got absolutely no creative, artistic or even mature content in them, or value, which to me, if you're that kind of person, I'm sorry, but like it's like being a fucking creationist, man. You're just denying your brain its use. But it is a simplified, easier variant of the platinum formula. But here are the red guys. That is the electricity move. Such a dangerous move. Insanely dangerous. This is the ability to do... Watch this. When I counter him, I can immediately execute from a distance. And watch the execution. It kills 2 people. Oh no, it only killed 1. But usually that execution can kill nearly entire rooms of people. Look at that. Just... It's so beautiful. You get the perfect parry. You hit him with the execution. Like, this game suddenly got different because now we have moves. So on the top left, can you see the blue bar that was full and then drained? Every time I do a charge attack, it will fill, depending on the level of charge I do. The charge attacks will obviously fill your chi to make you do the advanced attacks, but also, if you do a charge and you release it when Korra flashes, you'll do a perfect release. And the perfect release will max out your chi gauge, and it will also give you a much more powerful attack. So, if you played the Virgil's Downfall DLC on DMC, Virgil worked the exact same way. He had perfect releases on his attacks that did considerably more damage. Think of it like that. But here is a Firebender. This guy is not too bad. He has a move you can parry, which is that spin kick he does that's kind of flamey. Everything else you want to dodge. That move right there has some wicked tracking. I like the hold Y, because sometimes it launches him, and when you launch him you can then do some combos. As soon as you stun him, he's dead. And now that we have an element to bend, a lot of these fights are going to get so much more interesting and so much more easier to do. Because before that we were essentially defenseless. It was a no upgrade run at that point. But now we have some cool tools, we can start kicking some ass, and just look at this ability. It is so powerful. This is a pretty tricky fight, this one. Two bowler guys and a green guy. He does the duck into the flurry of punches. He does it again, so we'll parry it. That killed him. Bowler into me, into him, into execute, into... Does it kill them both? There, we've just leveled... It did, it killed them both. You see what I mean? And it turns the combat puzzle into this reliably awesome formula of get your riposte, get your execution, and win. And I love that kind of thing. It's simple, but it's rewarding, and it feels good. And the most important part of any game, aside from fun, is how good it feels. Like, you can have the best features in the world. If it doesn't feel good, people are going to know. And you're going to lose them. And that's the sad thing, because not every game developer can make a game that feels as great as some devs do. But here are the trio of benders. These are the massive benders. They'll bend you so hard, you'll bend. So I go for the water guy first because he's really dangerous. I'm going to just do as many attacks in his face as I can to get this. This is what we want. Not only will this knock him away, but it'll do big damage. And then from this point onwards, we can manipulate the camera to keep his friends off the screen, and we can beat him up. Something I haven't mentioned, camera control on this game is insanely powerful. If you run with nobody on camera, you are almost always safe. Oh, did you see that then? The execution animation killed the flame guy. That's how powerful it is. That does the riposte, that levels me up, that gives me full life, and I get 2 chi bars. This guy who's left, the earth dude, is the most dangerous of the casters. When he does that move, you need to be careful. Whenever he charges his leg, he's going to do a pillar from the ground, and then he's going to Vegeta smash you into the ground if you let him. Don't let him. He's too dangerous. Far too dangerous. From this point onwards, I'm going to try and do perfect charges to bounce him. If he counters me, we'll kill him. If he doesn't, we'll hopefully stun him, and he'll do the execution to kill him. But that, look at that, man. It's so Shiva off of Final Fantasy VIII, that iceberg. I love it. That time it didn't happen, though. That was strange. There's the stun. There's the kill. Oh, maybe not. Jesus, that guy's tough. So it didn't look like much, did it? But try that on New Game. Try that on New Game, man. That fight is insane without upgrades. Those dudes, if you go forward and they catch you when you try to rush down the water, dude, you can die before you noticed you're alive. It's literally that fast. But thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.